Simon Ekpa, a self-styled leader of separatist group Indigenous People of Biafra, has been passing several orders from his base in Finland to his followers, establishing a strict sit-at-home order in Nigeria's southern states. In the absence of Nnamdi Kanu, the IPOB leader, his protege, Simon Ekpa, has since 2021 tormented citizens in the region, applying terrorist tactics to force them to lock up their shops and businesses, crippling commercial activities in the region. On Wednesday, the activities of Ekpa and his gang finally caught the attention of the Senate, following a motion by Imo West Senator Osita Isinazor. Isinazor's motion was co-sponsored by all other 14 senators from the southeast, inviting Nigeria's federal might to end the rascality of Simon Ekpa and his band of outlaws in the region.
The Senate is aware that thousands of innocent lives have been lost since this action of sit-at-home in the southeast started, and properties worth over $1 trillion have been destroyed, which has resulted in investors leaving the region.
2023.
Efforts by the governors of the 5 southeastern states have achieved little to no end in the terror activities of Ekpa and his men. Those who dare to disobey his sit-at-home order often pay dearly for it, and senators are angry about the development. The Senate condemned the situation in the southeast and called for the extradition of Ekpa from his base in Finland. It, however, rejected a prayer by the southeast senators calling for a political solution to release IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu from DSS detention, saying it is offensive to his rules and a matter that is already in court.
What happens is this: a few miscreants, and I use the word advisedly, come out, shoot and kill 1 or 2 people and run away, and video it and send across the whole of the southeast, and everybody is now scared.
Kanu was extradited from Kenya in 2021 after he jumped bail in Nigeria, alleging threats to his life by Nigerian security forces. On October 2022, Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court struck out 8 out of the 15-count charge earlier brought against Kanu by the Nigerian government. The appellate court ordered his release on account of his unlawful extradition from Kenya to Nigeria to face terrorism charges. But the Supreme Court overturned the decision of the Federal High Court, leaving Kanu in detention since then. An additional prayer by Senator Ifeanyi Ubah asking the Senate to prevail on the federal government to obey the court orders on Kanu was also rejected without a single senator seconding it. The Senate, however, observed a minute silence in honor of those unjustly killed for not adhering to the sit-at-home order by Simon Ekpa and his gang. Omo Bazwai, Arise News.
Well, for more on this, I'm joined in the studio by Eze Chikamnayo, who is a constitutional lawyer and a former commissioner for information and strategy in Abia State. Also, Professor Charles Wakeku, who is the secretary of the Igbo Elders Consultative Forum. Gentlemen, good to see you. Not too good a story we're getting from Nigeria Southeast, so we've had this conversation. Perhaps let's start by speaking to Eze. You've seen some of your colleagues and friends in the National Assembly asking for a solution. First, give us a sense of what exactly is happening in Nigeria's southeast. You're from Abia State. How is it going with the people in terms of sit-at-home and the resurgence of these gun-wielding men?
Sulaiman, thank you. And the truth quickly is that these are very delicate times to have, not just in the southeast, but in Nigeria. And this time is a time for statesmanship, not a time for legalism. Because I observed the motions in the Senate and I saw how some of the people say because of our rules, we were not going to go in line with political solution. And as someone who has studied widely, issues of terrorism and issues of conflicts across the globe, and as a constitutional lawyer, I would say that there is no way anywhere in the world you will eventually arrive at a solution to any conflict without some form of political solution to it, because at the end of it will be on the table. And secondly, before now, Abia State, where I come from, has been an oasis of peace and security in the Southeast. The last diaspora meeting held in Abia State, Nigerian Union of Journalists conference held in Abia State 2 years ago, and for 8 years, check your records, under Governor Kizibas, there was no single incident of either IPOB or unrest in the Southeast. So you have to look at what was it that Abia, under Governor Okezikpeazu, did well.
I think every Nigerian is looking for a solution. I'll come back to you on that. Certainly, we'll have to look at what recipe you had, to the extent that people had a fantastic one for 8 years. Professor Nwakeku, one of the few things people have been asking is the solutions that the Igbo Elders Forum have, because I'll come back to the political aspect with Chikam Nayo, but what are the elders doing to ensure that everyone can go about their business?
Well, I want to thank you, and by extension, I want to thank the RISE management for giving us this wonderful opportunity. As a matter of fact, let me begin with the motion sponsored by some senators from Southeast.
Yeah.
Okay, first, I want to commend them, at least for them to come off for once to say, look, let Nnamdi Kanu be released. But I want to say this, they should go beyond that, because I'm not a lawyer, but I know that motion has no force of law. Although the senators rejected it, I wanted to hear what they suggested as an alternative, and I am disappointed that the senators could summon courage to advise the presidency to release Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. As a matter of fact, yes, as read here, you know, first Nnamdi Kanu was charged before an Abuja Federal High Court, Abuja, presided over by Justice Bin Tanyako, and then the court discharged him of 8 of the 15 charges, and then he appealed. At the appeal court, unanimously, 3 judges, they discharged him of the remaining 7 charges, and said, as a matter, that he should be released. And instead of releasing Nnamdi Kanu, federal government appealed. But you also remember that in this country, when ASU, federal government went to court against ASU, went to National Industrial Court. National Industrial Court said that ASU should first, observe this thing. Federal government insisted that ASU should first obey the court order before appealing. And we are asking federal government, why in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, why have you failed to obey court order before appealing? And in any way, you say you've appealed to the Supreme Court. What are the charges against Nnamdi Kanu? What are the charges? And again, the federal government, you see that after delivering that unanimous judgment, within 48 hours, the 3 judges were transferred out of Abuja punitively. And we're asking, are we in democracy? And so when the senators rejected the motion, of course, some of them are lawyers, and they know that motion has no force of law. I had expected the senator to say, look, our colleagues from Southeast, you've demonstrated patriotism. We should go beyond motion and compel Mr. President to obey the law, but obey the court order. Federal government is supposed to obey the court order by releasing Nnamdi Kanu before appealing, as they insisted that ASU should do. I belong to ASU, and I know that federal government insisted that we should obey, and we obeyed. And so why hasn't federal government obeyed this? And in any way, what are the charges against Mr. Nnamdi Kanu at the Supreme Court? So government is violating laws with impunity. The rule of law doesn't seem to exist again in Nigeria. It's like we here is lawless state. So
is this the
elders approach?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Is this
Igbo elders? No. Igbo elders.
Personal approach to this.
we've discussed this severally. We've reached out to the media. So I'm not saying that the Igbo elder didn't meet on it, but several Igbo elders have expressed this, led by our chairman, His Excellency Dr. Chukwuemeka Zife, Chief Esen Okeke, and others, even the new President General for Hanes and Chief Emmanuel Iwanyanwu. We have maintained the same thing, release Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. He has not committed any offense.